be back. Be'ezrat Hashem today. It'll be fine. Okay, let's roll. Seconds. Okay, we are holding in Parshas Toldos. This is the wrong one over here. Holding in Parshas Toldos. Second reading of Parshas Toldos. The Monday reading. We're holding on chapter 26, verse number 6. Vayeshev Yitzchak beGerad, and Yitzchak lived in the city of Gerad. Yishalo Ansheya Mokeh Malish Lishta, and people asked him about his wife. They were very holy people in these places. Yishalu, and they asked him about his wife. And he said, "She's my sister." Because he was afraid to say that it was his wife. At least they kill him. The people of the city might kill him. On Rivka Kitevas Madi, because she was a beautiful woman. Verse number 8, in the days past. Avimelech, the king of Plishtim, looked out of the window. He saw that Yisra was jesting with Rivka, his wife. Rashi said, he said to himself, "But now I have no need to worry, since they have not violated her until now. They're not bothering her. So it seems like it's all right." And he did not take precaution. Didn't take the steps to protect himself. So that Avimelech came to Pipi Tom, as we call. He saw them engaging in a relationship. Wonderful guy. He told him, "What are you saying? That's your sister. It's beholden to your wife." How do you say it's your sister? So Yitzchak said, "I had no choice. I was afraid that they would kill me." What have you done? What are you doing? One of the most prominent of the people might easily have lain with your wife. You're going to bring upon us. What do you say? Echadam, what did Rashi say? The most prominent of the people. Who's the most prominent of the people? Me. I'm the king. And I would have taken it. If had he had a relation, you would have brought upon us sin. So Melech made a proclamation. And he said, anybody who touches this woman, will be Ishta and his wife, this man, will be Ishta and his wife, most Yumus will be put to death. Yizra Yitzhak Beretzahi, and Yitzhak sowed in the land. And he saw, he found in that year 100-fold. Hashem, and the Eibush blessed, and God blessed him. Rashi says, Ba'aretzahi, in that land, even though it was not considered esteemed in the land of Israel itself, the land of the 7 nations, Shanahi, even though it was not the greatest year, it was a year of famine. Ba'aretzahi, Ubashanai. Why both of them? To tell us that the land was hard and that the year was hard. Nevertheless, God blessed Yitzchak that he had success in a bad year, in a bad area. Rashi says, for the estimate how much the land was fit to produce, and it produced for each measure that they estimated 100 measures. The rabbi said the purpose of this estimated was for tithing. Yitzchak wanted to know how much meiser he had to give every year. And that's why he calculated and he realized that he got 100 times the amount. Some say he got 100 times the amount of the tithing that he gave every year. And that completes the Chumash of today. So yesterday we went into what's called in Tanya Kuntes HaAchrein, the last part of the Tanya, the gatherings of the Alter Rebbe's teachings in the most deepest aspects of Chassidus and Kabbalah. So we end off, because as we come closer to Kislev, this week is a Chodesh Kislev. As we come closer to the end of the Tanya, we are left with the deepest concepts of Chassidus. Alter Rebbe believes some of these concepts are very deep, as you're going to see, and explain the questions that were sent, that was on the Tanya itself. So these are deep questions, these are deep concepts. Hopefully, we will be able to explain it to the best of our ability. And just open your ears and listen. Ayin Eitz Chaim. You see right away, the Rebbe starts off this quintus with the Eitz Chaim, Sefer Kabbalah, Shar Nekudis, the portion of Nekudis, Shar Ches, the portion number 8, Perek Vav, the 6th chapter of that portion. She'ein Chazoros Panim al Panim, Yemayidei Mitzvahs Maises Dakav. Over there, the Zohar writes that there's no face-to-face relation with God except through mitzvahs that are requiring action. So over here he says, noted the text cited had previously discussed the stage of creation, at which, number 1, the bracket of the 6 spheres known as collectively as Zah, which is called Zeir Ampin. Zeir Ampin means the short faces, so to say. Those are the 6 sfirot, the 6 manifestations. These are Kabbalistic terminology. And the spheres of Malchus were first emanated and revealed in the world of Atzilus. I mean, these things you should already hear. You heard these expressions many times. So you have in Malchus, in Atzilus, in the world of emanation, which is the first world of creation, the creation process. So in the world of Atzilus, Kabbalah says there are Esses spheres, and the emotional spheres are from Chesed till Yesod. These are called Shish spheres, 6 spheres, 6 manifestations, 6 illuminations. And that's called in Kabbalah Zeir Ampin, Zah. In the short version, it's called Zah, Zayin Aleph. Zah, if you'll hear the word Zah, Z-A, Zah, is Zeir Ampin, is short faces, means small. Concept of the way wisdom comes into a emotion. And ultimately you have the 7th sphere, which is Spheres HaMalchus. So from Chochmah, so it all comes. They were first emanated and revealed in the world of Atzilus. From Chochmah and Bina, everything comes from wisdom, and ultimately through Bina, through understanding. They're spiritual parents. Adam had not yet been created, and hence, the avodah of fulfilling mitzvahs did not yet exist. This stage, if Zah and Malchus had united face to face, there would be an infusion of divine energy from the innermost aspect of Zah to the innermost aspect of Malchus. This, however, would enable the Klippos to receive more than their due share of life-giving influence from the source of holiness. Right? Because it would basically, see, since there was be such Kedusha, in a way there would have to be Yinikas, what's called in Kabbalah, in Chassidus, Yinikas HaChetzonim. There would be a Yinika, a fusion. There would be some kind of with Klippos, with the opposite would find itself in the concept of holiness, because there would be no concept to stop it. Since the Adam was not created, Adam and Eve was not created, so there was the avodah of Adam and Eve was bitter, was to make sure la'avda, as expression the Torah says, la'avda, to watch it and to work it and to watch it. What means to work it and to watch it? That to make sure that even in Gan Eden, even the world of paradise, there would be not any capability for something than the opposite of Kedusha, the opposite of holiness, to be able to receive anything from Kedusha. That's why it says when God created Adam and Eve, he put them in the garden to watch it. What was he doing? There was no mitzvahs. There was a mitzvah, and that was to protect the garden, to protect Kedusha, to protect holiness. But before Adam and Eve was created, that there was no protection, there was no man, Adam and Eve, to protect holiness. So now you had a capability for the opposite of holiness. God created it in the beginning of creation, holiness and unholiness right away. So there would be nobody to protect. So unholiness would have a capability of receiving from holiness, and that would not be a positive. So therefore, this, however, would able Clippers receive more than the due share of life influence from the source of holiness. The union was therefore merely back to back. So that's why, now Kabbalah, you can understand, that's why the Eibishter created everything back to back. Even man, Adam and Eve was created in the beginning back to back. According to many, that they were created facing back to back. And they didn't have face-to-face relationship. In essence, there was no face-to-face relationship. Before, then God separated Adam and Eve, and he created the concept of a face-to-face relationship. And only the external aspect of Zah was drawn down to Malchut. That's how, in essence, God protected that the world, that Klippus, that the opposite side of Kedusha, would not receive any vitality until Adam and Eve would come to the world. And God would separate them and create them face to face. And if they would create a face-to-face relationship with this world, they would ultimately keep the face-to-face relationship in the upper worlds. But we all know they sinned. So they created right away. In the first day of creation, they created already a concept of sin, which is a back-to-back relationship. Only after Adam was created and before mitzvahs effectively trimming and hacking off the thorns, meaning limiting the nature of Klipper, could Zah Malchus unite face to face. So in essence, what the Alter Rebbe Kabbalah is saying in Zohar, that's our avodah. Our avodah, Yisa Hashem Panav Elecha. Our service in God is to have a face-to-face relationship. And that's our prayer. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu ultimate prayer was I want to see your face. I want a face-to-face relationship. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to actually see. We have a face-to-face relationship, whether we see or not. So by doing a mitzvah, by doing a commandment of God, we have a face-to-face relationship. By holding ourselves back and doing a sin, we have a face-to-face relationship. Why? Because once you do a sin, now we can't face. That's what happened. Adam and Eve. That's what the Torah said. Adam and Eve, when they sinned, they hid. They didn't want to see God. You can't hide from God. But they didn't want to have that face-to-face. They were embarrassed, right? And that's the ultimate concept of sin. That's that you're embarrassed. How you have a face-to-face relationship when you go against God? You can't have a face-to-face relationship. When you hurt somebody else and you know you hurt them, it's hard to face them. It's hard to have this face-to-face. So in other words, divinity can be revealed within this world without any nature being illegitimate diverted to Klippa, only by the means of mitzvahs, which performance entails the actual deed, and that creates the face-to-face relationship. That's why it's physical. God wanted a relation with the physical world. How can God have a relationship with the world if the Jew's not going to do the mitzvah? So the Jew does the mitzvah, takes the physical, and he reflects it back to God. Now God has a face-to-face relationship with them. Beautiful concept. Hamadava, the reason for this was giving Eitz Chaim, means of good deeds that a Jew does in this world, brings about the superior union. That's it. L'shem, we mentioned this in the time before. L'shem yichud kutsha b'richa u'shchit. That we have the kutsha b'richa, we have the concept of the way God is above, and he connects with the way the way he comes within the world. And that's the beauty. That's the concept. Every mitzvah we do, we create a union of God. I'm sorry, God, in this world, and God in Zohar, Malchus, in the world, and the SS Fittest in the upper world. We're creating unions. It's all about unity. It's all about bringing things together. Oh, now why dafken mitzvahs, dafken mitzvahs, physical actions? Why can the same result not be brought about by mitzvah filled through speech and thought? So why couldn't we have thought and speech, and that would be enough to create this union? Man Umad stood, it's written in Eitz Chaim, in the portrayal of man umat. First, before the supernal union can take place, there must be an elevation of the arousal from below, from the nukva, from the feminine elements. We, Jews, we need to, humans, we need to create something, an elevation from below of Zah into Malchus. And the waters of the feminine waters of Nukva, the feminine waters is the state of, is the state of action as explained in chapter 1. In other words, things of this world. Source is in Sfiras HaMalchus, which is Nukva Azam. Again, Zah is the Sfiras, the seven emotions, six emotions. They are masculine in comparison to Malchus, because Malchus receives them. Malchus receives from these six spheres. So Malchus, the feminine. Zah, the six spheres, is the masculine. Now, why would Chesed and Gevurah want to come down to Malchus? Why would it want to come down to Malchus? Malchus is lower than it. So why would it come out? So Malchus needs to awaken up within these six spheres. Malchus, kingship needs to awaken up within these higher entities to want to come down in it. That's Allah Smaim Nukvim. That is the concept of the of Malchus. In this Malchus, in the world of Atzilus, awakening up within its higher levels to want to come down into it. How does it happen? That's through us. Well, we explained before, the whole world was created through Malchus. The whole world, the king of all king of the world. So Malchus is the creation of the world. This physical world comes from Malchus. So really this whole world is Malchus. And now the whole world awakens up. We take the world, physical world, which is Malchus, and we are uplifted. We awake, we say we want to take this physical thing and we want this physical thing to awaken up something greater to come into it. That's how we do in this world. So in essence, we're mimicking what we do in this world to what happens in the upper worlds. So if we take Malchus of this world, means the world of action, we take the physical part of this world, and we bring into it chesed, ka'avas Hashem, yiras Hashem. We bring into this vessel love of God, fear of God, holiness of God. We bring it into this vessel, this world. That automatically mimics what happens above. And automatically, so to say, the second we do this in this world, we elevate the world. It elevates the world of Malchus. And when a Malchus awakens up, the emotions, and so to say, the spiritual ava and the love of God and fear of God, and the wisdom, and it brings it all into itself. And so it reflects. I am upon the water reflects the water. So too, whatever we do in this world reflects the upper worlds. Okay, this can be accomplished only through mitzvahs. The fulfillment requires actions performed with material components of the world, because that's the material components in the world. As we explained in Chassidus, Kabbalah comes from the attribute of Malchus, whose fulfillment requires action performed with material components of the world. This alone makes possible the supernal union, which reveals divinity within this world. And that's what happens. So what happens, we elevate the world. Now Malchus in the world of Atzilus is elevated, and it brings down within it a divine spirit, which is revealed in this world. And that's the way it keeps on going, continues to go one step from level to level. However, how can it be ensured that no part of this revelation will lead to Klippus? That's the problem. We have one problem. And in general, it's a general rule. The other side, Klippus, is the other side. Impurity, darkness, whatever you want to call it, Ra, evil. Evil has no existence. The only way evil exists is that when it receives some vitality from good. It's gotta receive something from good. And that's the problem. The problem is when we, in general, how does evil receive its existence? Is because when we do the mitzvahs for ulterior motives. So now when we do a mitzvah for ulterior motives, automatically it gives something to the negativity. There's something not good. And that's why, that's the problem in general, that's gullus. What happens? We keep on giving existence to evil, to ego. Even though we're doing something good. But since there's something not so good in it, doing it because of our own ego existence, we're doing it for some gain, might be. So we give existence, we're giving it a little bit of existence, to the concept of not what's not good. So you imagine if that's what we should do, everything l'shem shamayim, do everything for the sake of heaven. Like this, evil will not have an existence. But that's the way it goes. So evil, if we did everything for the right reason, evil would not have existence. But we don't. And therefore now evil has its existence. So the question, however, so how do you protect yourself? How do we protect that? How can we ensure that no part of here we're trying to reveal godliness to the world, and we're doing this mitzvah, and we're doing something good, and but automatically we're giving existence to the opposite of it, which is also known on Eitz Chaim as an extraneous forces. So we have good deeds. Good deeds are described. We mentioned before that Adam Rishon his obligation was to pruning, trimming, and hacking off thistles that attach themselves to the hinder part. We have to get it. We call it for the sukkahs. I don't know if you ever saw an esrog tree. An esrog tree has the biggest thorns of any tree you ever see, more than a rose garden, garden. Esrog has extremely hard, and it's the most dangerous thing to the esrog, and that's why the esrog needs to be protected from its own tree, because if you let the esrog grow without protecting it, it will get totally ruined. Because for God's ultimate wisdom, He created this tree that's supposed to give out a pre-Eitz Hadar, beautiful, beautiful fruit, and He created it to be the biggest thorns you have ever seen. So what's the obligation if you want a beautiful esrog? Is to make sure to cut the thorns away. You have to make sure to keep on watching this tree, and that's why you know why an esrog costs a lot of money, because this tree needs to be worked on a whole year, and the fruit needs to be protected the entire year to make sure that the fruit will stay beautiful. We also need, in essence, that's the Eitz Hadar, the Eibishter gave us a beautiful garden, brought Adam Rishon to a beautiful garden, and told him, now, but wait a second, the garden is beautiful, but I made sure to have clippers in there. The beauty of the garden is there's going to be some thorns, and there's going to be some weeds. And the weeds, if you're not going to take it out, you're not going to clean the garden, it's going to ultimately, these clippers that receive, how does weeds receive its existence? They receive its existence from the good, from the beauty of the garden. And therefore you need to take away this. You need to clean up the garden. You need to clean up your tree. But we need to do that, which is the state of the chain Bechinas Asiyah, which is in the state of deed. Jakasa B'Shad of Mem Zayin Penekeh, as explained in the Zohar. So it's the performance of it specifically, the commandments that hack away the clippers, which, like the unchecked roots of thistles or weeds in a vineyard, would otherwise encroach on the life-giving waters and divert them to their intended destination. So if you're not going to clean up the weeds, you're not going to clean up these things, ultimately, as it says over here, ultimately they're going to sop up the water that the tree needs. And ultimately, they're going to take the life force away from it. So too, we have, in essence, need to make sure that the mitzvah we do is pure. To make the mitzvah we do is clean, and the garden that we are tending is to make sure to keep out the weeds, to keep out things that are sapping the life force of the good. This pruning, what is the pruning? Is by elevating the elements of good that is concealed in them. That means taking the gashmias and separating, make sure to take away its weeds. Make sure to take away all its negativity, all its interior, all its ego in this aspect. They do the mitzvah in its impurity. If you're doing the mitzvah already, do it out of goodness. Why do it for also other reasons? That with the weeds, you're just taking weeds with it. You're taking the thorns with it. Take away the thorns. Take away the negativity. Take away the ego. Take away the selfishness in the mitzvah. Try to separate it. Try to do the mitzvah in its purity. And if you could take a physical thing and you can reveal its true purity, I can understand in the spiritual thing. If you're going to leave Torah mitzvahs only in the realm of thought and only in the realm of speech, maybe that's easy to do, to separate the negative. But wait, when you're going to do the mitzvah in the Maaseh, physical mitzvah, and you're going to separate its negativity. You're going to separate its physicality, its mundaneness, and you're going to reveal its purity. That's mitzvah. That's the purpose of the mitzvah. It's not the purpose of one's self-gain or the purpose of the physical thing. Who cares about the physical thing? It's only the physical thing is the vessel. That's all I needed. The physical thing is the vessel for the kedusha. I don't need the physical thing for itself only. I don't want this. Who needs this? Everything that I have, I need a kedusha. I need it for the beauty of doing good things. I have a beautiful home. I need a beautiful home. I can live in a cave. I want this beautiful home, so I'm able to do good things in this home. I'm able to invite people to this home. I'm able to elevate the godliness in this home, etc., etc., etc. So if we can separate it, if we can take away the weeds, because if not, I don't do that, then the home itself can become a consuming, burdenous thing. And now I don't have time for anything. My home, all my obligations, and all the money that I need has become so cumbersome that I don't have any time for any kedusha enjoyment in this. That's the avodah. Avodah is to take it and transform it into something that is godly for a godly purpose. And that's why I need this beauty and this wonderful, beautiful physical thing. And that's revealing the gunners. That's what he said, by pruning, it is affecting, by elevating the elements of good that concealed in them, meaning in things of the world that are related to action, asiyah. And that is enclosed in the mitzvah of action. The mekoidus, and that's where a yid, that's where ultimately, where it all resides. That's what we mentioned before in time, the reflection of godliness is in this world of action. So if I can do that, I can create that synergy, that beauty, that this Gashmi, this physical thing reflects godliness. Now, it doesn't only reflect his physicality, it reflects his godliness in its purpose. It's elevating this element of good to the source, to the sanctity of the world, ultimately to the ultimate world and godliness, the world of Atzilus, world of emanation, already been refined. Performance of particular mitzvahs thus makes possible the purification, elevation of those physical things that are need by this, that are in need of this, by extracting the elements of good that is within them and elevating them to holiness. That's the beautiful concept of our service, specifically in this world. That's it's written there. Odom Rishon really affected this also. Gama de Tefillah. That Odom Rishon did his service in rectifying the world through prayer, which not appear to be a mitzvah requiring actions, words. So Odom Rishon also did it through words, not through thought. So we know also, we mentioned this many times, self-understood that action is a physical thing. But also we should not leave Judaism, Torah, and Tefillah in the realm of thought. We have to move our lips, so to say. We have to say Divrei Torah. We have to vocalize the words of Torah. We have to vocalize the words of mitzvah. Why? Because in halacha, akim asvasav hava ma'isa, that the movements of the lips is also deemed an action in Jewish law. Why? Is because physical words ultimately when a person passes on after 120 years, he still has the koyach hadibur, the power of speech is in your soul. But physical words is in your mouth, is in the words you say. And therefore, that's why in halacha, speech is an action. Because the concept of speech, in the way that we speak, especially in the words of Torah, expression of the words of Torah is only expressed in a physical way, with the words, with the five, as we learned in Kabbalah, Siddur is the five, and ultimately the physical mouth, the five parts of the mouth. The utterance derived from the vivifying soul, which is in one's body and blood, whose root and life force is the klippus nega. That's what it is. So when my mouth speaks, that's elevating my physical mouth. My physical mouth is elevated through my speech. That's why we should speak. We shouldn't say negative things and bad words, etc. Because in essence, if I do that, I'm revealing the negative side of my neshama, of my body, negative of my body, which comes from klippus nega, from good and bad. I've explained in chapter part 1, the beginning of Tanya, chapter 37. One's godly soul is incapable of uttering the words of Torah and mitzvah, which have been sounded with the physical mouth, tongue and teeth, except through the agency of the vivifying soul that's invested in his body. You cannot say the words of Torah anymore when you're in Gan Eden. You're going to do it in a more spiritual way. You cannot say the words of Torah only the way your neshama comes into your physical body. Your neshama is pure as God, but your body has within it good and bad. So therefore, you can say divrei Torah, good words, and you can say bad words. It's your free will. You could talk positive, you could talk negative. You could talk words of Torah, you could talk words of narish, stupidity. See, this above the words of prayer can also elevate mayim nukvim from nukva of asiyah. So that's why ultimately Avram Avinu elevated the world. The Zohar says not only through action, but also through prayer. And that's why we also can elevate this word through vocalizing physically, saying words of Torah and mitzvahs. Acts of refinement of Asiyah that are accomplished through the practical mitzvahs sent to the world of Yitzira. In these Kabbalistic terms, by the means of the divine name Ban, Shem Ban. Ban is 52. Again, this is the way the combination of God's name, the whole different class that God's name is the incarnation of Yud Kei Vav Kei. There's different combinations. Shem Ban, there's a combination which equals up to 52. There's a combination that equals up to Shem 83. There's a combination that equals up to 45. There's different combinations of God's name. So the acts of refinement are see accomplished particular mitzvahs, Yitzira, by means of the divine name of Ban. The Yitzira and Bria, Tatzilas, is noted in Shar Man in Drush 11, section 7. Dev Yuvan, the hero, and now you understand why here, the understanding why merely thought accomplishes nothing. So merely thought doesn't accomplish anything because it's not considered an action, and we need to have the concept of action. So we need to surely have speech, and ultimately the best thing is, as the Mishnah says, say a little, do a lot. So sometimes we speak too much, and we don't do nothing physically. So we need to ultimately do something physically. Why? Less the mayim nukvim, the lower, the waters from the low, means the physical world. In the elevated, from less mayim nukvim is elevated to kings of Noiga. It's impossible to drown drops from above to affect the union in Zah, in Zun. And I can to above term as Zah and Nukv. So you had Zah and you had Malchus. We gave you one terminology, Zah and Malchus. And the Yichud is called Zun. This is a Kabbalistic Zun. So Zun is Zah Malchus, the unity of Zah and Nukva. Zah is the 6 emotions, and Nukva is Malchus, is kingship, and you have the unity of the 6 emotions and kingship that come together. So when they are united, they're called Zun, Z-U-N, not S-U-N, Z. This elevation can be affected only through the activity of a level of Asiyah state. So Zah and Malchus can unite only if a degree of illumination that transcends them both is drawn upon them. Use a mortal analogy. Concerning the union of man and woman, it's written, male and female did he create them. And God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and multiply. Meaning, in order for the union to bear fruit, a blessing must first descend from the partners from above, God. And these drops of blessing from a source of divinity that transcend both Zah and Malchus cannot be drawn forth unless Mayim Nukvan is aroused and elevated by the refinement of the material purpose. This is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons what happens by chuppah, that the kala, the chassan comes to the chuppah, and then the kala comes towards it. And the chassan comes towards the kala. And then the kala goes around them 7 times. And then they do berachas kedushin. They make a bracha to bring this union together. And then they do 7 brachas. All this whole concept, because it's the way everything happens. Zah nukva, Zah, that's the chassan says a maimer before the chuppah. And he explains in Kabbalah what happens at the chuppah. It's Zah and Malchus coming together. It's man, male, masculine, feminine coming together. And through this mitzvah of marriage, that the masculine and feminine come together, brings about the union above. Because Zah desires to seek its nurture from its mother, meaning from the sphere of Bina, rather than giving forth from the lower realms. It's only through the elevation of Mayim Nukvan, of Noiga. The higher degree of illumination is drawn down within Zah, causing it to desire to unite with the spheres beneath its Malchus. Because why would Zah, in essence, why would the masculine want to come into the feminine because he's afraid? The masculine is afraid. The Zah is afraid that he's going to get involved with something that is negative. So therefore, the feminine comes forward. He entices, so to say. He shows the masculine that he has elevated himself. He has prepared itself. She has prepared herself. She's made herself ready to be able to receive Zah, and that to make sure that nobody will receive anything from it but her. And that's Kedushin. What's the view of Kedushin is that the man and the woman say that we're exclusive. Nobody else is going to get involved in this relationship. And therefore, we're going to have a pure relationship. But that's the fear. In any relationship, we're always afraid of outer forces that are going to come in and try to sap the energy of this relationship. And we need to constantly create this enticement, this unity, to make sure that no outer forces get involved in this relationship. And in essence, that's our avoid. Our avoid is to make sure our service over here, while we're here in the world for us, to make sure that the Eibishter has a relationship with this world, and he has a pure relationship, he's a face-to-face relationship, and no outer forces get involved. And how do we do that? By making this world, by making Malchus, by making the physical world a only receptacle for godliness, and not allowing any weeds and any thistles and any thorns to be able to get involved in this relationship. Break it, chas v'shalom, or even to sap energy from this world. Beautiful concept. Zoya, But Shagasa B'Shan Man, Jewish Bay, that's written in Eitz Chaim, Shan Man, the second Jewish, Vayin Zoya, Pasha Pekudei, look at also in Zoya in the portion of Pekudei, Daf Nation and Dalit, page 244, Ahmed Bay, the second side, Yisidura, there's a mode of gazing, etc. Just as a mode of verbalizing prayer, so is a mode of prayer which is kavana, by the means which one meditates, attains heights as one gazes upon the glory of the King. So we have the speech, and we have gazing, looking eye to eye, gazing at one another. That's also part of relationship. Then ultimately we have, and then ultimately we have, as the relationship grows, hugging and kissing, and ultimately the intimacy. This refers to intention, kavanas in worship, gazing, and the supernal union for those who know and understand how to gaze. How do you gaze? Stakla. Stakla b'kutcha b'rich. Such a visual can have an impact on this world through the unarticulated intentions alone. Nefesh, ruch, neshama, shlam, atzmam, pain, mayim, nukvim, for the nefesh, ruch, and neshama themselves constitute the arousal initiated by the recipient, which is known as mayim, nukvim, through the self-sacrifice devotion for Torah. Beniflas hapayim, nefillas hapayim, during tachlim prayer, in which they say, "To you, God, I lift my soul." As it's. So this ability, however, remains. This ability for those to be able to make a connection with God through meditation, through the stakel, that's meditation, through the mind. They can create this, not only through speech, but also not only through action, but are those who have the capability in the Zoya to be able to create a relationship with God, the stakel, to be able to gaze. And it's enough for them. And they have this eye-to-eye contact, so this is gazing concept, which is a concept in Kabbalah as a concept of intellectual, and a more intellectual relationship, which is a meditative relationship. But this is very few can accomplish, because we're physical people. So we need to have physical action. The overwhelming majority of Jews accomplish this elevation through mitzvahs of action, involving the actual deed or the speech. And in this manner, they're able to bring about a union face to face, which is what is the ultimate union of face to face between Zah and Malchus. So really, we're all trying, what we're doing over here is really to create a spiritual union above. In essence, whatever we're doing here right now, and you do this mitzvah, you're trying to create a physical union above, a spiritual union above, because through the spiritual union above, the fusion of God comes into this world in a great. So if in the world of Atzilus, Zah and Malchus, the emotions, the spirits of the emotions of Malchus, of Atzilus come together, they unite with Malchus in the world of Atzilus, that brings a greater revelation in this world. And that's what we're trying to accomplish, a greater revelation in this world. And only can accomplish if that union happens above. And that union happens above is only if the union happens here in this world. So we better get out there and do mitzvahs. Because more mitzvahs we do for the sake of its real reason to bring about the union with God in the world, we create that union. And the sublime union of Kutsha Berichu, and that's what we mentioned before, the sublime union of Kutsha Berichu Ushchinte, the union of the way God is above Malchus, Shchinte, the way he comes into Malchus. The way he's above kingship, Shchinte, one of the names of Malchus is Shchina. And the way the masculine, the ultimate union above is the union below, the masculine and the feminine. And the masculine and feminine only means man and woman. The masculine and feminine is between the masculine part of the world, the giving, the godliness in the world, and the feminine, the physical. And that's the ultimate union that we need to accomplish, which are opposites. They're opposites, but we need to bring about. Why? They're opposites because you need to prepare the vessel, you need to prepare the malchus, you need to prepare this world so that it'll be able to receive. It's godly light. And this sublime union, which is drawn down into this. Wow. Okay, it gives you something to think about till tomorrow. So beautiful, beautiful Tanya. That ends the Tanya of the day. Today is, I believe, the 27th day of the month. And it's chapter 120 till 134. Chapter 120 to chapter 134. And you would do the chitas of the day. I want to wish you all a wonderful day. And Amir Shem, I'll see you all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll continue to learn the chitas of the day. Continue on this journey. Have a wonderful and beautiful and happy